Hi folks, it's Gary here with your Blue Nose Bulletin for Monday the 1st of July here on the 4th Officials YouTube channel. A very warm welcome and thank you for joining us on this show. On today's bulletin, we've got all the latest transfer news in and out of Ibrox, including links with a couple of Rangers players with moves down to England. And the first of those is the Rangers winger Scott Wright, and reports over the course of the weekend were linking Scott Wright, who is now in his final year of contract with Rangers, with English Championship side Sheffield Wednesday, who are accredited with an interest in the young Scottish winger. I think it's well known that Scott Wright has been a fringe player for Rangers now for a number of seasons. Of course, was close to leaving this time last year with a move to Turkey, which was very much in the offing, but he decided to stick around in Glasgow for last season and was a peripheral figure in and around the Rangers squad last year. But with moves to bring in the like of Oscar Cortez, talk still ongoing with Yusuf Kabadai and other wide options that Rangers are obviously looking at. Hefty obviously coming in as well, who can play on the left side. And also links with other Scottish players, Connor Barron coming in, and a couple of others, which we'll come on to speak about in a couple of moments. I think it's very much now or never for Scott Wright in terms of securing a move out of Rangers for what will be a relatively nominal fee, given that he's only got 1 year of contract left. But should he move on, he obviously leaves with all the best wishes of Rangers fans, as Rangers look to upgrade in that area in terms of wide options. Another player who has been very heavily linked with the exit door in the recent weeks is Connor Goldson. Now, we spoke here on the bulletin a couple of weeks ago regarding very strong links with Connor Goldson with clubs in Saudi Arabia, alongside Rangers captain James Tavernier. And it's emerged this morning that Birmingham City, who recently were relegated down to League One in England, have been accredited with an interest in Connor Goldson as they look to bounce back to the English Championship at the first time of asking. So we'll watch with interest in terms of what happens with that. Now, Connor Goldson does still have 2 years left on his Rangers contract and is one of the more heavily played players in the squad. So Rangers certainly wouldn't be looking to rip up his contract and would be looking for a fairly decent fee for Connor Goldson. Now, it's my understanding that Rangers are open to moving Connor Goldson on during this transfer window. Now, whether that is out to Saudi Arabia, where there is a deal on the table for him, talk still ongoing with at least a couple of clubs out in Saudi Arabia for Connor Goldson, but he may be more tempted with a move back down to England. Now, Birmingham's around about 15 minutes away from where Connor Goldson grew up, so certainly links with going back home, which may well appeal to him at this stage of his career. Whether Birmingham, although they are under new ownership, have got the funds to complete a deal, and whether moving from the Premiership and potential Champions League football to League One is something that Connor Goldson wants to do at this stage in his career, kind of remains to be seen. But certainly big interest in Goldson from Birmingham City. Whether that's followed up with actual concrete bids, we'll watch over the coming days. Now, Philippe Clement has mentioned wanting experience in the door at Ibrox, and we spoke last week a lot about Kenny McLean, the Scotland international midfielder, currently with Norwich City, played 50 games last season for Norwich in their championship season, where they came very close to getting promotion to the Premiership, but obviously that didn't happen, and now under new management as well down at Norwich, and it's believed that Kenny McLean is now close to sealing a deal to coming up and playing for his boyhood heroes in Rangers. So we'll watch that with close interest this week, but it is my understanding that Kenny McLean will become a Rangers player and will give that level of leadership that Philippe Clement is looking for. And as we mentioned, with Scott Wright moving out, it's another homegrown player that knows the club, that knows the league, and gives us another option in that midfield area, alongside obviously new signee Connor Barron, who obviously gives us a bit of legs and a bit of energy in the midfield, and Barron and McLean could well complement each other quite nicely in that area. So we'll see what happens on that front. One ex-Rangers player that looks as if he is on the move once again is Glen Kamara. Now, the Finnish midfielder down at Leeds left Rangers for $5 million this time last year. And with Leeds having failed to secure promotion into the Premiership last season, it's expected that he will be made available for transfer. And the French club Rennes is being linked with Glen Kamara. Now, Kamara was linked with a move to Ligue 1 whilst at Rangers before he moved down to Leeds. So it's not fresh news in terms of interest in Kamara from France. Now, if he was to move on from Leeds, it would make Rangers at a fairly decent sell-on fee in the region of around about £500,000 to £1 million, depending on the fee, with Leeds with a kind of 10% sell-on there. So we'll watch with that, but that again just would help add to the coffers that Philippe Clement and Niels Koppen have got to play with. No further developments with regards to Hamza Igamane. We reported on the show last week that is just waiting on visas being sorted out for the Moroccan striker, but that very much will be a deal that will be completed in due course, and Igamane will become a Rangers player, although he's expected to be involved in the Moroccan Olympic squad, so might not necessarily be a player that's available right at the beginning of next season, but certainly Igamane will be in and around the first team squad at Rangers for next year. As and when any new news comes to us, we'll certainly be sharing it with you here on the channel. That will pretty much do us for this bulletin. A big thank you to you all for watching. I'll speak to you next time. Goodbye.